So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. And iOS 27 was launched today. We have the developer beta 1 installed here on the iPhone 17. And I literally just installed it. That's why we're going through this setup process together. But it does support any iPhone that could run iOS 26, dating all the way back to iPhone 11. Okay, and you'll see here it does show the new image playground, which is going to allow you to really get some photorealistic images if you like to do image generation. It's a massive update for you here, and we're going to go ahead and go to next. You can reframe or expand your shots. They talked about this in here, and there's also going to be an accessibility, the ability to really enhance liquid glass to your own liking. We can actually change it right here, initial setup. I'm going to put it probably right in the middle for now. But you'll see that. And if we hit continue, we're going to see get started. Now I am rocking the stock iPhone 17 wallpaper, but the first thing we're going to look at is the new wallpaper. So within the wallpaper section, you'll see the wallpaper has a playful contrast of shadow and light as it comes to life. And you'll see at least we get 3 here. Sometimes they only throw in 1. So you get 3 different color options here. Let's go with the blue. I think that looks pretty nice. I wonder if that's giving us a hint towards maybe some iPhone 18 Pro color options. Actually, I'm going to go with this wallpaper because this is the one that was showed in the event. Now, if you look actually a little bit closer, the icons are like a little bit sharper. They pop a little bit more, and they will have a little bit of a liquid glass effects on certain applications. So do keep that in mind. These icons definitely stand out more. They look a little bit different, but they're not substantially different. So if you're looking for something majorly different, and so that icon right there, the Apple Maps icon, that one definitely looks like it has that little liquid glass element within inside of it. But honestly, the icons just look like they pop out a little bit more. It's giving me that One UI kind of feel. If you looked at Samsung's One UI, those icons in their latest versions has started getting a little bit crispier and popping out a little bit more, kind of getting that vibe here, but with obviously the consistency of iOS icons. And they were saying that what improved was the fluidity between the pages. And I want to go ahead and bring in my iPhone 17 Pro Max here to see if we can see any of that here. So yes, it definitely feels smoother going through, and even launching into the app library, less stutter than ever before. Now check this out on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. It just looks a little bit more like a little bit less smooth when going and transitioning through the pages. Also, if you look kind of like around the app library, those elements that kind of like the wallpaper and things behind the applications are just more visually appealing. They look better and stuff like that. So the liquid glass elements have gotten better. I honestly think some of these icons, they look a little bit like stickers on there. They look a little bit less vibrant, like they pop out a little bit less on iOS 26. So if you like a very crispy, vibrant icons, you're gonna absolutely love iOS 27 for sure. Now, when you go ahead and edit things here on the home screen, you'll also see that looks a little bit different right there, and you'll see you're going to be able to change that in accessibility, how much translucency right there. But generally, it definitely feels fluid launching between the pages. Now, when we go to apps, they claim they launch even faster than ever before. I'm not sure if that is available just yet, but they do feel pretty smooth here when going through the pages. As a matter of fact, let's launch a couple apps compared to the 17 Pro Max on 26 to see if they are actually launching faster. All right, so let's go ahead and launch App Store in 3, 2, go. Yeah, a little bit faster there on the 17, not substantially though. Let's go ahead and go to calculator on both, 3, 2, go. Not hugely different, but they claim they are faster, but it's not substantial right now. Maybe we're gonna get more of those improvements down the line. But this phone definitely feels pretty snappy on this first beta. So the update size for this iOS 27 beta 1 was around 17 gigs. So definitely took about 20 to 25 minutes to download it on my internet. If your internet's quicker, it could be faster, but generally a pretty large update. And also do a backup before you do this download, as you might run into issues and you don't want to lose data or anything like that. And one of the major focuses here on iOS 27 was the child accounts. Now I'm going to send you a link to the page where you can read more about this, but essentially, because I'm not creating one right now, even though I'm a parent, no phones yet. Also, the the focus here on the child account, letting parents control the apps their kids are going to use, screen time allowances, and also just kind of having way more in-depth control over the phone than previous years. And this focus is a much heavier on here than like some other competitors do. This is a very big deal, I think, especially for many people who are concerned about the damaging effects of these applications and technology on young children's brain. Definitely, this is a major step in the right direction. So a lot more controls for the child. If you're a parent and you need a phone for them to contact them, but you don't want them having on the apps, you can set up only essential applications and more. You can do things like allow them to only get certain apps, ask permissions in Safari for like certain applications they're going to be visiting or the websites they're going to be visiting. You're going to have a lot more control over that here in 27. So another major update here is the new Siri with Apple Intelligence, more conversational, capable, and deeply personal. This Siri AI is going to be combined with Google Gemini models, which is going to make this thing way smarter than it's ever been before. Almost kind of feels like it's Apple's admission that Google is really crushing it in the AI space, which they definitely are with Gemini. But the thing is that they want theirs very super privacy focused, and you should. It's AI. It's a very powerful thing. We need to have some constraints around this stuff, as this stuff should serve us. And Apple's focus on that, keeping all this data on device, and not even sent back to Apple themselves, and even independent third parties can test to make sure of that. This is very compelling way to use AI for sure. And I think it's going to have a lot more people using it. It says I have to join the wait list. So I don't see the Siri AI available here on my phone. If I click Siri, it just says join the wait list right there. If I hold this down, it's just kind of giving me the same Siri that we're used to. Let's go ahead and go to the camera, because there's supposed to be Siri in the camera, but it might not be quite available just yet if we have to join a wait list. So let's go ahead and see. Yeah, so the Siri is not available just yet here in the camera for my phone, but there is going to be Siri available. You'll see we have this new little control over here, but it looked a little bit different a second ago. But generally, you're going to have Siri in camera, and the Siri AI is going to allow you to do a lot more with iOS 27, including more context awareness, seeing what's on screen, and things of that sort. It's going to be pretty awesome. So in Control Center, I just feel like the overall shape and like the sharpness around them looks a little bit different, a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner and crisper. But also I noticed in here when I add a control, the responsiveness is much more Apple-like here. So a lot smoother to scroll through. Let me show you on 26 how this always looked. I've talked about this in previous performance battles. But if we go over here to the Control Center, and I add control right here. Oh, that is just so choppy right there. Can you see that? Now look at this. Very smooth and fluid. So finally, Apple taking a major focus on the performance more this year, I would say, than adding new features. So I like the focus on refinement this year. I don't think iOS needed a massive change as we just got liquid glass, but allowing the working on the product's performance and responsiveness refinement while adding AI and crisping up the icons a little bit definitely is going to be very nice for upcoming iPhone products for sure. So Apple Health does include some new features for perimenopause, also irregular cycle tracking, and more educational stuff in this area. Doesn't really affect me, but for those of you out there who need to track these health stats, it's going to definitely help you out a bit more in that regard. So adding another feature, nothing major, but definitely major for the people using that. I'm saying that the major as in they didn't like rehaul the whole health application is what I'm saying there. Another update is AirDrop is supposed to be 80% faster. So when transferring files from one iPhone to the next, it's going to get quicker. I wish I could just showcase that right now, but my other phones aren't on 27, and being an early beta, I'm sure it's not going to be 80% at this current time. So that's coming for sure. And that's really good. If you do a lot of, ecosystem transferring, it's going to be great, or also sharing with friends and family. So in settings, like we showed in the initial setup, you can use the liquid glass slider. All you got to do is type liquid glass in, and it'll showcase right there under appearance. You'll see appearance section. It's going to be right there, and it'll show you more tinted or not. Let's see how that looks. And we'll go ahead and see how this looks. The more clear it looks. We'll go into the App Store. And you'll see the more clear, you're going to see more of those translucency effects behind the application. So definitely, I mean, these updates, if you're already using 26, you kind of have to have a close eye to notice. I think people going throughout their day are going to download this update and barely notice much of a difference, but their phone's going to be performing very reliably. So this is going to be a good year for reliability and the return to very smooth and responsive iPhone performance. I like this. So search is going to get better. It's going to get a lot smarter at kind of like indexing everything. Also just kind of like knowing and having more context about the data on your phone. Again, all stored on your device. The iPhone, kind of on the inside of the software, is just going to get a lot smarter, a lot more efficient at recognizing and like offering you suggestions and things of that sort. It's just going to be a way smarter experience this year. So in Apple Maps, the flyover is going to get a lot better. It's going to look a lot more realistic. Right now, I click the 3D and the 2D. I'm not really seeing what I've seen in the overall the presentation. So maybe I'm either clicking something wrong or it's not available just yet in this initial beta. I don't know. I don't see it here, but for sure, this is going to improve for major cities, and you're going to get to see different like visions of the city you never were able to see before, unless you use something like Google Earth or something like that. So pretty nice improvement to Apple Maps. So another really cool feature in iOS 27 is the ability to update automatically multiple passwords easily. I love this update because I cannot stand going through each one of these passwords and individually changing it. Super annoying, especially if it says compromised. Under there, you're going to want to get that taken care of. So in Apple Messages, when you send an image, instead of the blue bar coming up here and kind of blocking your messages, there's going to be a small little bar underneath your photo within Apple Messages. And also, they're going to give you recommendations of things you might want to send to reply via their new AI systems on here. So it's going to get smarter within your Apple Messages. Again, something within the actual experience that you're going to notice. This is going to make your daily experience a little bit smarter and more efficient. And within Apple Photos, you got reframing tools, extend tools, and better cleanup tools here for erasing photo bombers, people behind your image you don't want in there. You want to extend it out a little bit. You want to reframe the way it looks, spatial scenes. It's really good stuff if you want to do that. And I really like the one where you could erase things behind you. That's very, very cool. Let's take a look at that right now. Okay, so here's a very old photo of me testing the iPhone 8 Plus. And clean this up. I don't want these people in the background. So let's go ahead and prepare the cleanup here. And let's see if it can handle this for me automatically. As it prepares, it'll say right down here, preparing the cleanup. It does take a second. So you're going to have to wait for that on-device processing. And this is probably why. And you can see it already detected them. So I'm just going to like circle them over there, clean them up. We'll go ahead and let them clean up the photo. Having these type of tools and better photo image enhancements you could do definitely is a really neat touch, I think, for iOS 27, and one that's going to make the phone a lot less like you're going to be jealous of your Android friends that are able to do those things and show off that they can erase things in the background and things of this sort. So performance is pretty good. It's actually cooling down now that the phone has been turned on and the update is done. It's running very good right now. I'm not seeing a lot of bugs or anything crazy like that. It's launching apps very smoothly. Control center is smooth. Transitions feel responsive. The phone feels very responsive. So nice for a beta 1. I can't speak on battery as we literally just downloaded this right now, but I'm sure it's going to be a little bit worse than an official version. At the same time, should you install this, I don't think it's worth installing right now. There's really nothing like that's crazy different, and it's probably not worth the headache at this current time. Unless you really just want to take it for a spin. There's nothing really substantially improved. Siri, these things are still in beta. They're like really early stages. So this is kind of just like a preview versus a full-blown software. So they got some work to do throughout this summer. And it's definitely, it's a nice step forward. And I like the focus on responsiveness and stuff of that sort. It's going to make speed tests very interesting this year as they finally updated these animations. I got to rerun them all to see how they do against these very smooth OnePlus and Samsung phones and those devices, because now they're improving that. But mostly what you're going to be excited for here is the AI. You're going to be excited here for the responsive improvements and more reliable performance. A couple things that Apple had not done well on 26. So not a major overhaul, but one that's going to make the phone actually better in the real world day to day, but not overly exciting in terms of like visually. You're not seeing like massive changes visually, just some cleanups here and there. And I think that sometimes is the better move, especially when things are already working pretty smooth. We just need to refine and polish instead of always trying to rehaul everything. So let me know your thoughts on iOS 27. Are you excited? Do you not care? Are you not excited? Let us know down below in the comments. And again, 17 gigabyte update. Do a backup if you decide to do it. You don't need to pay for a developer subscription. You could just download it as a developer beta to try it out if you want to give it a spin. If you just want to wait for the public beta, that should launch sometime in July. Again, goes all the way back to the iPhone 11. Have a great day. I'll catch you on the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.